Charles Edwards. I'm the president-elect, standing in for our president, Eric, who has a prior engagement, i.e. work. In recognition of, we're starting a little late, just a few quick reminders, and then we'll move to Richard for the invocation and the pledge. Just remember about Facebook and LinkedIn. And also, if you do not, I encourage you to every every Monday morning, Val puts together a great newsletter about what's happening with the club and things that we can do. So please take some time and read the newsletter and review the newsletter. And we'll get to some of the issues that are in it, but definitely opportunities for service, which Rotary is all about and what this club is all about. So without further ado, Mr. Watkins, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you so very much. And for everyone in attendance who is wondering where Richard Watkins is, I am right here. Please forgive me. I am usually wearing a suit, but I had a meeting run right into this meeting. And so you're getting me for what I really, really look like. And so just bear with me, bear with me. Times are certainly changing. We're dealing with things and issues and circumstances, the likes of which we have never seen. And you don't necessarily have to be a religious individual. In fact, you don't necessarily have to recognize or worship in a certain way to understand where I am coming from with this. You know, oftentimes I get on these calls and I feel very grateful. You know, I am an individual who works as hard as they possibly can, but I know that I am not the smartest. I know that though I work really hard, I am not the most successful. I am not the most revered. I am just a small individual in the grand scheme of things. But I am an individual who prays, and you don't necessarily have to pray. I'm just letting you know that that is who I am. But when I drop to my knees at the end of the day and again in the morning, I recognize my shortcomings and I only communicate three things. The first of those is a great deal of love. It's the only thing I know to be true. Next thing, forgiveness. And if you were on the call last week, you know the third will be gratitude. Now, I must admit that I don't necessarily know the right things to do all the time. However, if I lean heavily on forgiveness, gratitude, and love, then things will be okay. So my message to every Rotarian here today, that you don't have to be able to solve all the world's problems. You don't necessarily even have to be able to solve all of your problems. But as long as you do what you can, when you can, with what you have, things will be okay. And so long as that you deal in love, you ask for forgiveness, and you convey gratitude, then you will be okay no matter what the circumstances may be, regardless of how unprecedented they may be. Thank you all for your time, and amen. And would you please join me now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, beautiful, oh, spacious sky, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America,
Wonderful, Seven. Thank you so much. Thank you for each and every one of you for being here. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Raleigh, North Carolina. Back to you, Charles.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Sevelin. Yeah, I used to be able to sing, but I wouldn't want to get in your way. That's for sure.
Do it, Charles.
Before we move on, just the introduction of guests, and Linda has a quick announcement. Please remember that today is December the 7th. If you have never had the opportunity to go to Pearl Harbor, it does take your breath away. But remember what happened, 76 years ago, I guess it is now. And hopefully will never happen again. With that, Linda, if you could just recognize any guests we have, and also you have an announcement about the catered lunch.
Yes, thank you, Charles. Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome. And we do have a guest today, Tyler Crisco, who I believe was a Rotarian in Southern Pines. And if you would like to say hi to everyone, please do, Tyler.
Yes, I believe I'm off mute now. Yes, I used to be a member of the Southern Pines Rotary. I have since changed jobs and started working here in Raleigh, so I'm interested in joining the Raleigh Club.
Well, welcome, Tyler, and we hope you enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And then I have a quick announcement for everybody who is attending next Monday's lunch. We will be treating you to catered lunch from Jubila, and they conveniently have two locations, one in North Raleigh at Lafayette Village and the other at Hillsborough. So I will be emailing you the details. Most likely you will just be able to go in person or do curbside pickup, and we will have a code that you can give them. And then we will be paying for your lunch, including, yay, dessert. So if you've ever been to Jubila, they have very good food, excellent sandwiches, and we would be happy to treat you all. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Linda. And please do that. In spite of the fact that we can't be together, I believe that it's a great way to at least continue our community by at least enjoying lunch virtually. Just a quick mention about CART, and those issues never go away, dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. And if you have the opportunity, I encourage you to email a donation to Linda, and we will bill you for that. Are there any happy dollars that anybody would like to make to the club?
I would like to, this is Richard Watkins. I would just like to give a happy dollar because I love barbecue so much, and today's speaker is all about barbecue. So I'd like to contribute a happy dollar in behalf in the name of barbecue. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Hey, this is Gina. I'll donate $5 for Valerie and I, because we are finishing up our semester, and she's in her PhD program. I'm in my master's program. So looking forward to the semester being over.
Does that mean you've done the exams yet, or you're just?
I have, mine's due on Tuesday.
Well, good luck on that.
Yes, I am finished with mine. But I have an additional happy dollar. My son and his girlfriend got married on Saturday. It was a socially distant affair. They didn't get to have the venue that they had planned on. It was at her parents' home. But the deed is done, and he loves to keep pointing out that she is now contractually obligated to do whatever. She's an attorney, so he loves throwing that around. But I now have a new daughter. Yay.
Congrats. That's great.
I have a happy dollar if possible.
Yeah, James, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. For those of you who heard my presentation last week on Gift of Life, the following day was Giving Tuesday, and we had a telethon from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. And Gift of Life International, we raised over $185,000 for the Gift of Life program. So a couple of happy dollars for that. And thank you all for letting me present last week.
That is tremendous. It's Tremendous. Carrie, did I see you?
Yes, I would like to do 10 happy dollars. Paul and I last Friday celebrated our 10th anniversary.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Thank you.
Charles,
Yes,
it's Mike Toddy.
yes, Mike,
I,
go ahead.
I would like to give 32 happy dollars. One happy dollar for the Indiana Hoosiers who won on Saturday. And if you haven't seen Tom Allen, you need to check him out. He's a great coach and an inspiring force. The second happy dollar is for my Cleveland Browns, who won yesterday. And the remainder is a $30 for my wife and I's 30th anniversary, which is tomorrow.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, in response to Mike's donation, happy dollars for the Cleveland Browns, I like to give $11 for my Pittsburgh Steelers for their 11-0 record.
Okay, we're on a roll now. Anybody else got a football team that won? No? All right, well, I'm going to put in $5 because Virginia won. Thank you very much. So, all right. And also don't forget, because this is the season of buying gifts, make sure that you note Rotary Club of Raleigh through Amazon Smile. Just as a note, this is the industry that I work in. Quite frankly, if you have not bought any gifts which you are going to have shipped anywhere by next Monday, you can pretty much forget that they will arrive in time. That's how busy the package operators are this year. So just as a reminder, get those orders in early if you are buying something on time. Next week, we'll have the award-winning actor-director Ira Dela Woods III will be speaking to us, which should be really exciting. I have never, and I am in all of the 30 plus 40 years I've lived here in Raleigh, I've never gone to the Christmas Carol, which is really stupid on my part, but so be it. Also, just going back to what was in the newsletter this morning, there is a request for help on the 4-way test. I spent many years on the committee reviewing and grading those papers. It's a lot of fun. It's really neat to see how students in middle school understand and apply the 4-way test. And so I encourage you to sign up to do that. With that, Mark, can you just bring us up to speed on what's happening with Southeast Raleigh and Vocational Service Awards, please?
Sure. Hey, Charles. Good afternoon, everyone. First, with Southeast Raleigh, I mean, it's a broken record. They continue to do well. Tomorrow, let's see, their speaker is Atrius Good, who's the president and CEO of the National Mentoring Partnership. And their focus is on mentoring the youth in the community. So if you are available 6:30 tomorrow, I would suggest that you take time to visit their meeting tomorrow evening. We announced the Vocational Service Leadership Award last week if you were on the call. And if you weren't and need more information, I'll be glad to give that to you. But basically, if you work with someone, friends with someone, know someone in the community who has done tremendous work in terms of adding value and helping folks in the community, this is an opportunity to recognize them with our club Vocational Service Leadership Award. Again, we'll have details, should be in the newsletter next week as well as on the website, but you can always contact me and I'll give you more information. But those nominations from our club members are due by the end of this month. So please get those in and we'll have the award early next year.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Colonel Warner, you have an announcement?
I do. Thanks, Charles. I don't know whether you know it, but I mentioned it on chat last week, but our club is the administrative sponsor of a new, it's an e-club, but I don't know what's called satellite or not. It's the e-club for veterans issues, and it's essentially the Veterans Club. And it's appropriate that the first inaugural meeting of this will be tonight at 5:30 on the Pearl Harbor anniversary of 79 years. You were close.
Thank you.
And let me tell you a bit about it. It's a, there's been 3 or 4 other e-clubs formed, generally related to some cause, social justice, things like that. But this veteran one is somewhat unique. It's going to be a community of veterans, their family and friends, joined together to learn about, address issues of importance to veterans. It's going to meet twice a month for half an hour, essentially first and third Mondays at 5:30 to 6 by Zoom. It is for adults with a heart for service. Current Rotarians in a club can join as an affiliate member for completely reduced price. They're obviously looking for new members that can join an e-club as well, and it's at a reduced price as well. There's an application that can go around that I asked Linda if she could send it out. If you want information, it'll be on there. So veteransissuesrotary@gmail.com. And the membership types are the full Rotarian is $90 a quarter if you're not a current Rotarian. So it's an opportunity to bring in new folks to an e-club to actually get the experience, full experience of a Rotary in a little bit different way. And it's not restricted to the district. You could be in Europe, you could be in, Asia, you could be in whatever and still participate. Although you may be getting up early in the morning if you're in Asia. There's an affiliate membership I mentioned. If you're in another club, you can join for $25 a quarter. And anyone that's in a family member of an affiliate, obviously Rotaractors, Peace Fellows, stuff like that, there's no dues. So it's really going to be great. They're going to conduct hands-on service projects benefiting veterans, their families, provide education about veterans' needs to community organizations, and encourage an understanding of those needs of the veterans as they transition to civilian life after military service. Tonight's a TED Talk with discussion after it about from a World War II veteran, Frank Moore, called A Perfect Life and Love. So it's going to be fun. The December 21 group is Hector Garcia about We Train Soldiers for War. Let's train them to come home too. So I think you'll see a really nice set of organization to be part of, half an hour twice a week with veteran friends or veteran type interested friends. So I encourage you to do that. And Linda, I ask that you send that out, at least post it so that folks can get to it. And we hope to see you tonight. It'd be nice if we got a few from each club. We'd rack it up with a big membership to start with. But obviously we're looking for a threshold number of straight new Rotarians in order to be recognized. It's only like 8 or so. And then if we have 1,000 affiliates, that would be great too. So good club, new opportunity. And we are the host sponsor for that club as well. Again, Rotary Club of Raleigh sticking their necks out and doing a great job taking the first step forward on a lot of this. So thanks much.
Great. Thank you, Kirk. Yeah, it's especially the issue of what do you do when you come home from service, especially if you've had numerous deployments, something that doesn't get addressed as much as it should be. Membership report, Christy.
Hey everyone, we have a first reading today for potential new members. This is super exciting. And this is a reading for James Amancha, sponsored by Elsa Silverman. I know a lot of us were present at our last meeting where James spoke about the Gift of Life organization, of which he's a board member. He's also chair for their local organization. He's also, as we talked about earlier, owner of the La Mancha Gallery in New York, as well as their new location here in Cameron Village. He's worked in the arts world since receiving his BFA from SUNY New Paltz. He's also a current member of the Northport Rotary Club in Northport, New York. So he is excited to be involved with us since he's spending more time in Raleigh. If you have any questions or comments, send them my way. Thanks a lot.
Great, thanks, Christy. Alex, fundraising and our big event this week.
Thanks, Charles. Happy Monday, everybody. So I just wanted to remind everybody that our holiday fundraiser is this Wednesday, the 9th. It starts at 5:30. We are holding a virtual trivia night in lieu of, I guess, our annual holiday luncheon. All proceeds of Wednesday night will be going towards the Salvation Army. We have had a few signups, but I would encourage everybody, if you're available, to come out and join us all. It's going to be a lot of fun. Ugly Christmas sweaters are encouraged. Bring your spouse, bring your children. The tickets are $25 for an individual, and if you have a team, it's $40. We also have a lot of great raffle prizes. The tickets for those are $5, and then our large raffle is $100 Publix gift card, which is, and tickets for that are $10. The small raffle prizes, we have gift cards to probably Amazon. I have to think about that for a second. And then we also have gift cards for the pit. And then Tom has graciously agreed to donate some, from what I hear, some delicious baked goods as well. And then the winner of trivia will also receive a gift basket full of holiday goodies. So I encourage everybody to come out. Like I said, all the proceeds are going towards the Salvation Army. 2020 has been a rough year, I think, for everybody, but unfortunately it's been a little bit harder for some people. So it's a great way to get together and hang out after work and give back to the Raleigh community. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. You can respond to the evite that Linda sent out last week. And then if anybody's interested in raffle tickets, just let Linda or I know. So far, nobody has purchased raffle tickets yet. So come on, guys, get those tickets in because we have some great prizes. So if anybody, like I said, if anybody has any questions, just let me know. And I look forward to seeing all of you Wednesday night. Thanks.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you for all your work. I don't know how you do it, juggling jobs and everything else, and then switching jobs and doing all of this, but thank you so much. I mentioned this earlier, what's up on the screen about the four-way test. Again, it's a great way to understand the minds, if you can, of middle schoolers, but they do a great job. And so please sign up and help us judge those essays. Gina, Service, I saw you there.
Yes, happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. So have a couple of different updates. One, Toys for Tots. We are still gathering donations. I know that I have a closet full of donations, and I'm going to be passing them off to Kurt Warner sometime this week so he can take them to the Marine Reserve Station off of Western Boulevard. But if you guys have any toys that also you're looking to donate, please let Kurt and I know. I know some of you guys have reached out to Linda. Maybe I could find a time to meet with you guys to get those donations. So unwrapped gifts, please. I know it's a hard time of year for a lot of families, and those toys will do a lot of good and bring some maybe joy into end of a tumultuous year. So a little bit of an update regarding the day of service. Reminder, save the date, April 17th, 2021. We do have a location at St. Augustine's University. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to really now kind of, we have a base. And so from that, I am going to be looking for service projects around the Southeast Raleigh location. So Valerie, if you can go to the next slide. So as you may recall, Rotary actually has 8 areas of service. I know it says 7 on here, but I haven't been able to find an updated like little image for that. They did add the environment to their areas of service. So what we're looking for is in Southeast Raleigh, different organizations that are a part of each of these different sections of service. So you brainstorm some things away, and the university has some ideas as well, but really going to be excited about that. And I'll be sending out a meeting invite to all of the districts to start really ramping up our preparation for this. Next slide. All right. Reminder, 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 bell ringing. Sadly, I'm going to be in Florida, but our annual bell ringing is happening starting December 14th through the 24th. So this is a condensed version of normally what we do. Normally it is from the end of Thanksgiving all the way up to Christmas Eve. And we are stationed out at that Walmart, getting people to donate in the kettle. And this year it just looks different for us because of COVID. As such, we are thinking about a lot of different ways that this does impact us. So one, of course, because we're only doing 2 weeks instead of 4 or 5 weeks, that changes probably the amount that we're going to be able to get in that kettle, as well as there's a coin shortage. So there's that potentially won't be in the kettle. So we expect donations to be low. So what does that mean? Is one, we still need volunteers to sign up for these different times. So please go to the Sign Up Genius and or our website and sign up for different times. Do bell ringing. It is so much fun. Really enjoy the holiday. Also, if you are considering on donating to the Salvation Army, please let us know so that we can get your check and put it in our kettle for us. So we'll collect those checks for you guys. Linda, is there any other special instructions on if anybody wants to fill out a check for the Salvation Army for our kettle?
I can email the instructions that I recently received to the whole club of how that should be addressed when they mail it to Salvation Army. So I will do that today.
Perfect, perfect. So thank you guys so much for your time. Again, the Salvation Army really kind of depends on us each year. They impact so much for so many different families. So really consider a donation to our cause. This is something that we do every year, and it just looks different. So thank you so much for your time. I hope everybody has a fantastic Monday.
Thanks, Gina. I did happen to go online this morning and just see how the slots were starting to fill up, and it's very encouraging for that first week. In fact, well, there is one door. We will be doing at both doors on Sundays. One of the doors is not filled at all. So when you get a chance, please go online, find some time that works for you, and let's participate, because the need definitely has not gone away. And in fact, it's been aggravated by the COVID. Just some final announcements. See the birthdays for Stu and Jarrell, and then anniversaries. And as we've already heard from Mike, congratulations, 30 years. And she's still there, right? Yeah, I see him laughing and nodding. So.
Actually, she left, but it's okay. She's coming back.
Okay, good. I hope just for a few minutes, not for a long time. So if there's no other announcements from anybody, does anybody else have an announcement? We will proceed to our speakers. So Richard, please introduce Mike.
Hey, thank you so much, Charles. I really, really appreciate it. And this is really, really exciting because I get an opportunity to introduce a friend of mine to other friends of mine. And I think that's just the greatest thing to do, like to introduce your friends to one another. Just really quickly, how I know Michael is one of his good friends is married to one of my wife's best friends. Now, that may be really, really complicated, but let me say it in a different way. We end up at the same cookout from time to time, right? Whether it's baby showers or so on and so forth, I end up at a cookout with him. Now, if you are to end up at a cookout with anybody, then there's no better person than Mike D or Michael Dela Santos, who makes some of the best barbecue that I have ever tasted. In fact, barbecue is so good that he invited me over to his house one day, and I showed up, and I'm thinking that this is just like a cookout, you know. But then I get there, and everybody who is anybody in Durham is there. And then there's all these camera crews, and people are asking me to sign waivers and release forms. And it turns out they are making a documentary about his barbecue. And you'll see his barbecue everywhere. Just really quickly, Michael De Los Santos is the owner of Mike D's Barbecue LLC, and Durham-based, North Carolina-based company with an award-winning line of sauces and dry rubs. Mike D's Barbecue is 6.5 years old and has shipped products to all 50 states and 5 countries, and has over 40 retail partners across 14 states, and recently opened their first brick and mortar location. They are also the preferred sauce and rub of Duke Athletics, the tailgate partner for North Carolina State Athletics, and the official sauce of Ryan Seed Racing. Mike D's Barbecue is also featured company on the I Quit reality docuseries on the Discovery Channel. Michael also serves as the president of the North Carolina Specialty Foods Association, a nonprofit with the mission of growing opportunities for food-based businesses in North Carolina and beyond. In addition, he also serves on the board of directors for the Reinvestment Partners, a nonprofit who works to address the problems of poverty and social injustice in areas of food, housing, community development, health, financial services, and financial services. Michael was previously the deputy director at Action NC for 9.5 years, a progressive organization and policy nonprofit. He managed internal operations as well as affordable housing, economic justice, and monetary policy campaigns for the organization. He has a bachelor's degree in public administration from Southern New Hampshire University and a master's degree in real estate with a focus on development from Georgetown University. In August of 2011, Michael was appointed by the Durham City Council to serve on the Housing Appeals Board to hear appeals on housing code and building condemnation cases. He served until 2014. In 2012, he was named to the Insight Center for Community Economic Development Experts and Color of Networking for Housing and Economic Justice. Fellow Rotarians, so without further ado, that is my privilege and honor to introduce to you all Michael De Los Santos. Michael?
Thanks for that introduction. Thanks for having me on here, and good to see everybody. It's always weird to hear your bio read back to you. This is I've done other speaking engagements. They don't, they do like a quick synopsis. Oh, this is Mike D from Mike D's Barbecue, but to like hear the whole bio read back to you, so it feels a little weird. I'm glad to be here. And a couple updates to that. We can actually say we've now shipped to 7 countries. We've added the Ukraine, and as of yesterday, we've added Australia to the list of places where we're shipping product to. Just some more good growth to chat about. But kind of what I really wanted to talk about today was just, getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's something that this year, just as everybody has gone through this crazy time with the pandemic, we've all had to make adjustments in our lives professionally, just with everything. And a lot of times it was not very comfortable. And I was doing some reflection this year just on that, and just some other things that have happened to us, as a family and as a business this year, and realized that I've had a lifetime of experiences of getting comfortable being uncomfortable that I think has helped to prepare me both for what's happening just in general in 2020, but also sort of the thing that happened to help give my business sort of the biggest break that we've had so far, which was the I Quit show on Discovery Channel. And so, just a little background, on myself, and part of that, what sort of led to that is like I was a military kid growing up. I lived in Germany, lived in several different places. We always had to move around a lot, and so I didn't realize at that time like what kind of impact I was going to have on my life growing up or down the line. But that was sort of my first experience with being comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? As you move around a lot, you're always having to make new friends. You're always having to create new everything. And you're always having to sell yourself, right? You're like, why should we be friends with this new kid who, may not be here for that long? And so just sort of a lifetime of growing up and doing that, going from, living in Germany, living in Northern Virginia. I was actually born out in California. I don't really remember much of that, but, just that whole thing sort of like was preparing me for some of the next steps in life. And then even when I finished, when my dad retired from the military and we settled down in Richmond, Virginia, even that period, like we went from, we always lived in, pretty diverse communities before then. And then we moved down to, the south side of Richmond, Virginia, where we were living in, what was not a very diverse community. And we lived in what will be, some folks would classify the inner city. And that was, a different experience for me from, military bases are pretty diverse and then to moving to a place that wasn't. So it was again, setting up that whole being uncomfortable and trying to get comfortable with that to make our mark there. But even in, sort of those experiences and leading on to when I went to college, the first time around I was at Emory and Henry colleges in the southwestern part of Virginia. And that was a rural area. I mean, the town itself maybe has a couple hundred people, and those are all the faculty and staff of the college. But going from, an urban area to a rural area where I have to drive 30 minutes to find anything was also another sort of really changing experience for me where I had to, again, continue this trend of getting comfortable being uncomfortable so I could, make it a success or make it, get the most out of it that I could. So all those different things sort of were just building and building and building. And then eventually through various jobs and different transitions, I ended up in North Carolina back in 2007. And life was good. I was doing a lot of policy work for the nonprofit, things are good. But still, even with that, it was a lot of the same mindset of being uncomfortable and having to be comfortable with that as you're, doing policy work and trying to lobby folks to make changes, to make impacts on the community, having to make some real appeals to people to care about communities that otherwise tend to get ignored. And then, all while that was happening, I've been a barbecue junkie the majority of my life. And so barbecue was always this thing that I was doing on the back end of all of that stuff. I always felt that barbecue is a way of bringing people together. I always felt like barbecue, we could get world peace if we had more barbecues, right? There's something about smoke and open fire with meats and vegetables for those who like vegetables to just like brings people together. Like it doesn't matter if what religion you are, what color you are, where you're from, what your political affiliation is. Good barbecue just brings people together and have a good time. Like you can go to almost any barbecue joint around the country and settle in and have a good time, no matter how you are. And so that was always sort of like an underlying thing for me as I was doing a lot of work for social justice, but also thinking about ways, we can make connection with other people. And for me, that was barbecue. I was making my own sauces and rubs for a long time. I just wanted to, figure out what was working for me. And I didn't feel like what I wanted out of a flavor palette was out there on the market. And so I was just making my own instead of buying some, throwing big cookouts. I have a Memorial Day cookout that I host every year at my house, with the exception of this year, unfortunately. And so, those kind of things, just testing out on people. And the other thing about like, I'm a introverted person. I'm not an extrovert. I'm not very comfortable talking to people. This is case, and then part of that growth now, just here, I'm like looking at the screen, there's all these people looking back at me. And so, hosting cookouts is one of my ways of dealing with that, right? Is you have a lot of people, but it's around something that I love, which would allow me to be uncomfortable, but being comfortable at the same time to be able to bring people together around some good food and good fellowship. While also, unbeknownst to me, was sort of building the baseline for my growing barbecue business. People kept telling me I needed to have a business. I should sell these sauces and rubs. As you know, this is the South. Everybody's got a barbecue sauce. Everybody makes the best barbecue sauce. And so I was hesitant. I was like, I don't want to step into a flooded market to sell that. I think I'll just continue making them for my friends and family, or just and leave it at that. I eventually started a barbecue blog where I was reviewing barbecue restaurants as I would travel around the country for work. That kind of grew into companies sending me sauces to review. ended up with a kitchen cabinet full of barbecue sauces. And I felt that my sauce was better than probably 85% of the ones that I had been tasting. And I figured that these could be businesses. There's no reason why I couldn't as well. So maybe there is something to what people have been telling me about starting a business. I still was not fully on board with it right away. Life had some other changes for us. My wife got pregnant with our third child, which would have been our son. And then he was born with some serious health problems. He had hypoplastic left heart syndrome. And so we ended up he lived for exactly 6 months, and we spent all but 3 weeks of those 6 months living in the hospital for all the surgeries and everything that he had to go through. So life had kind of put all of us, everything that we had on hold for a while. And it was another situation where we had to be a little comfortable being uncomfortable. It's not like staying constantly at the hospital while trying to balance work and your kids is not a very comfortable thing. It's not a lot of creature comforts at the hospital. And so something that we were dealing with. And then when my son passed, one of the things that stuck with me was just sort of the impact that he had. Like he couldn't make excuses for why he couldn't do things, right? He was just trying to live, trying to do that. And, I looked at sort of like a lesson for me about making excuses for why I can't do certain things. And that sort of the big catalyst for me going ahead and starting the business, because I can't make excuses anymore. I need to honor my son's memory and his legacy of just pushing forward with no excuses. And so that's how Mike D's Barbecue officially came about back in 2013. And, we've been growing ever since, but all that sort of was building to probably the big break for us, which is, being on a TV show. And, for somebody who is an introvert and doesn't like people, imagine having cameras around you all the time on top of that, right? That just made for another very uncomfortable experience. But that was a year long. We filmed from February of last year all the way through December of last year. And so it was, again, a situation where I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I mean, having camera crews around for everything, having producers telling me when I can and can't open my smoker for the cameras, which caused a lot of frustrations on my part. Telling you like, oh, that was great, but we need to film that again. You need to say that all over again, right? Just all those things that come with it. But it all sort of was building to the point for, this year where a lot of challenges we've had over the years growing the business sort of led to us having a great year this year, even in the pandemic. We had a slow start to the year. And then as the pandemic hit, and we were worried that we were going to have to shut down the business, because at that time, 60% of our revenue came from direct to consumer events. We were hitting up fairs and festivals all up and down the East Coast, and those were all getting shut down. We're trying to figure out like how we were going to proceed. And then because everybody was staying home, people started to shop online more and more, as you all know, and as you heard earlier about shipping times and all that stuff. We've been dealing with that all year. And so our online order sort of skyrocketed to the point where it was able to help keep us afloat until the TV show started airing in August of this year. And it ran through the beginning of October. And we got such a big boost from that TV show that we were like, our sales have, we're up almost 300% this year over where we were last year. And it was like a blessing that's helped us to grow, but it wouldn't have happened if I weren't in a position last year to be uncomfortable, to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And one of the great things about the show is if you go and watch it, which, this will be a spoiler alert if you haven't watched it yet, and you want to go and watch it, but you can find it on the Discovery Go app. The show is called I Quit. But one thing that was not clear to any of the people who are on the show, and they followed 6 businesses for the year, was that the producers and the people behind the show were going to give one of the businesses $100,000 to continue to help grow their business. And they didn't tell that to any of the businesses on the show. So like we weren't competing, we weren't doing any of that stuff trying to win that, because we didn't even know it was a thing. And then, the way I found out about it was because in December of last year, they were like, oh, we have to do one more film session with you. And we're going to have, your mentor come down and do a recap of the year. And when I opened the door to the house with the film crew, there was, not all the mentors were there. And so I thought, well, something might be a little off here. And then they filmed a scene. They told us that we were being chosen to receive that $100,000 seed money for our business, which, again, it was a really emotional moment considering that I almost didn't want to do the show because I didn't want cameras around me because I don't like cameras. But had I not done that, we would not have had that, been in that position to do that, which would then helped us to expand our production and expand our growth this year, including open our retail store. Like, none of that would have been possible if we were not in a position to where I was willing to put myself in an uncomfortable situation and get comfortable being uncomfortable to make that happen. And so then watching that season finale and watch that air on television was pretty crazy. And just the amount of outreach that we got from folks after that was pretty amazing. But I just, a bigger reflection of what I found this year about, a lifetime of being uncomfortable and getting comfortable being uncomfortable sort of led us to a point where we've been able to have our best year in business yet and to receive a great gift from some TV partners. And so that was kind of the message I want to share today about you never know what can happen when you get comfortable being uncomfortable, what kind of good things can come from that.
Wow, that was absolutely incredible. I think it's striking how you can spend time with somebody, and I think, you just appreciate how good of a person they are, like you, but you don't know all of this story, and it's just strange until you see it on TV. And so having interacted with both, Michael and his wife a few times, a handful of times, and then seeing their story on the Discovery Channel, it's just really, really incredible. But going right after that, we've had questions pouring in. So, Mike, hopefully you're ready to field some questions.
I'm ready.
So the first question is from Charles Edwards. All right, which is your favorite type of barbecue? And he's got a follow up. I just want you to answer this one first.
No pressure.
So it's interesting that I always get in trouble when I answer this question because my favorite actual style of barbecue is actually Texas because I love brisket.
Okay.
And that's actually my favorite thing to smoke is brisket. And so I always get in trouble when I answer that question in North Carolina because people are like, what are you talking about? This is pork steak. But I do love my brisket. So that would be my favorite kind of barbecue.
Awesome. I was born in Texas, and so I understand it's all beef country there. Following up on that, Charles also wants to know is how do you assess barbecue sauces?
So it's really about like what I'm looking for in a sauce, and so like I'm not a big fan of like really thick sauces, and so if somebody gives me a sauce to review or try and it's really thick, that's already going to, for me, work against the sauce because I'm not a fan of the thicker sauces. But I also look to make sure like what's the flavor of the sauce like, and then I like to try sauce by itself first just to sort of see if I can taste the different parts of the sauce, and then I want to try it on meat because I want to see if the sauce is going to overpower the natural flavor of the meat, or if the sauce is going to become a star of the show, or does it just highlight the meat and allow the meat to stay part of the show. And if the sauce is going to overpower the meat and become the star, then that's not a sauce that I prefer or would rate very well.
Now, if you were to just look within North Carolina, Linda wants to know, could you settle the great Eastern versus Western barbecue debate for us? What's your favorite just within North Carolina? And complete disclosure, full disclosure, she prefers Western style.
Right. So I took the easy way out. Actually, in my favorite sauces would obviously be my sauces, and my sauces are actually a hybrid between vinegar and tomatoes. So it kind of bridges Western and Eastern. And so we have an even base in our sauce, where you get an even base of vinegar and tomato. So it's not as thin as a pure Eastern style sauce. It's not as thick as a more pure tomato style sauce. It's closer to kind of the Lexington style sauce that you would get that try to bridge that gap. And so that would be my favorite because I like my tomato. I like that tomato flavor, but I also like that vinegar. And so for me, my favorite sauces are ones that can combine vinegar and tomato with the right balance.
Wow, that's a very diplomatic response. I love it. You should go into politics.
But still makes people hungry. It doesn't completely answer the question, but still makes you hungry. It's perfect.
Yes, it does.
So some people want a little bit more information about your business, the brick and mortar, because Gina is asking, can you tell me a little bit more, about your restaurant? What is the best dish? So she might have a misunderstanding of what your business is. Could you tell a little bit more about your business? And if somebody wanted to eat some of your barbecue, where do they go?
Yeah, so first, like this is a common misconception that we get, but Mike D's Barbecue is not a restaurant. So our retail store is actually a barbecue supply store where we sell custom built smokers and grills and charcoal and grilling tools and accessories, as well as, you know, our line of barbecue sauces and rubs. And we also have a section where we have a collection of North Carolina based food products that we also sell. And so that's what our store is. Restaurant stuff is maybe coming. There might be some stuff in the works. I won't confirm nor deny, but that might be in the works for 2021. But yeah, so our retail store is just a supply store to come and get you everything you need to go and have a good barbecue yourself. And so if you want to come to our store, which would be some great time, we got some good holiday baskets going right now. We're in Durham, 306 South Driver Street is the address of our store. If you don't want to make the trip out to Durham, you can also visit our website, www.mikedsbarbecue.com. You can conveniently see it behind my head somewhere. You can order some product online and we'll ship it to you. And you can also choose local pickup and come pick it up. And so those are the best ways to get some of our product. But just more about our business. We've got the core of our business before we started the store was just selling our sauces and rubs. And we have 2 sauces and 2 rubs. We have a mild sauce, which we call Big Sauce. That was my nickname, so I called my first sauce Big Sauce. And then we have an all-purpose rub, and then we have a sweet and spicy version of the rub, and we have a spicy barbecue sauce as well.
Awesome, awesome. So Gina, I guess the answer, the best way you can taste Mike D's Barbecue is to buy some of the products and make it yourself. And please let us know how it works out. Hopefully it turns out wonderful. Tom Packer wants to know, do you think growing up in a military family played a role in your later success as a businessman?
You know, I was asked this question when I was in New York as part of the TV show. They didn't air that. My answer to that question, they didn't air it on TV. So this is, you'll get the answer. But I do think that it did. I mean, one thing about being a business owner, especially when you're selling, when your business is a product that you need people to buy, or you got to be able to sell yourself and the product. You got to be able to talk to people. You know, and one of the biggest lessons I took from being in the military family, just all the time we've had to move, and I felt like I was constantly having to sell myself to people to make new friends, sell myself to get people to want to hang out, sell myself to people. And I think that translated well to being, a business owner in sales, where I needed to sell the product to people who I'd never met before. I needed to be able to talk to people who were just randomly walking by, get them to get a feeling for me and like me. Because you get them to like you, then they'll buy your product. And I think that being in a military family and moving around like we did and having to make new friends, new associates all the time, like helped to build the framework for that to be able to be used when I became an adult and started a business.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we put your address for Mike D's Barbecue within the chat, because the next question was asking about that. And some people are just putting their favorite stuff on here. So Reagan Weaver wants to know about what veggies do you offer? I believe you said something about maybe fruit in your store, but was there any like vegetables that you cater to or something like that?
Yeah, so we don't have any vegetables in our store yet. We're working on some stuff for in 2020. We might have a spot where some local farmers can come in and sell their produce, but we don't have any at this moment. But one thing I will say is our products aren't just for meat eaters. We have a whole collection of vegetarians who love to use our rubs for their vegetables. We've had people sending me photos of them using our sauces and rubs on tofu and all that. And so, if you like to grill or cook veggies and not a meat person, our products can still be used for that as well.
Awesome. I actually just used your rub on a steak. No vegetables, just a steak. So I just did that actually. All right, I'm just going through. I think we are finishing up here. Mike College wants to know, all gluten-free, your products gluten-free?
They are.
Excellent. And if you talked about Michigan barbecue, you'd be referring to barbecue pork ribs, and that's a clarification by Elsa. Is that true? Are you familiar with Michigan barbecue at all?
I am a little familiar with Michigan barbecue. I do know that some good ribs can come from that region. So
awesome. I think that is all the questions that we have. Actually, can I just have another hard question? I am so sorry. This is going to be a hard question. If you want to answer it diplomatically, you can. In the triangle, Chapel Hill, Durham, Raleigh. Out of the places you've been to, what is your favorite barbecue restaurant? Your favorite. You're not disparaging anybody, but you are saying what's your favorite.
This is a hard question to answer. Usually when I get that question, I say my house. But there are, bits and pieces that you can pull from different places that you like. So in Durham, there's a place called Bird's Barbecue where they make some great barbecue sandwiches. So when I just want like a barbecue sandwich, that's where I go. In Durham, there's a place called the Original Q Shack where I want some good sides. That's where I go. I feel like they have the best baked beans in the triangle. And you can also get some good brisket there. My favorite two places to actually get barbecue from are actually food trucks, though. And so if you can follow them, one is based out of Cary. It's called the Humble Pig, which they have a dish called the Carolina Fries, which you can get with pork or brisket on top of it. It's fries, pork or brisket with some pimento cheese, and it's one of the best things I've ever eaten. And so there's that one, and then there's another food truck that I'm not sure where they're based at. They just kind of show up at lots of places, and they're also a fellow partner with Duke with me, but it's called Corner Boys Barbecue, and they do some really good brisket as well. So those would be, and they're just, if you follow both of those on social media, you can figure out where they are. But with most of you guys seem to be around the Raleigh area, it might be easier for you to find the Humble Pig. And if you do, and you see Ross or Jessica, tell them that Mike D sent you, and get the Carolina Fries, and you'll be satisfied.
Awesome. I can't think of a better way to close out. This is a great program. Thank you, Michael Dela Santos, owner and creator of Mike D's Barbecue. Throw some D's on it. Check it out. Thank you so much. Hopefully you and your family are well and safe. Charles, back to you.
Thank you. So we're going to wrap this up quickly because now I am really hungry, Michael. So thank you for coming in. And also your comment and the phrase that you use, getting comfortable by being uncomfortable. I think that is just a tremendous watchword and phrase that we all need to think about as we get involved in service and in trying to make this world a much better place. But again, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate that. And thank you, Richard, for bringing Michael to the meeting. So Rotarians, as we close out the meeting, will you please join me in the four-way test? 1, of the things we think and say or do. 1,
is it the truth?
2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill
and better friendships?
And 4, will it be
beneficial to all concerned?
With that, we are adjourned, and we'll remember to sign up for bell ringing. Remember about the event on Wednesday, the 9th, that Alex and her group have been working very hard on. Please join us for both of those, and we'll see you next week. Have a great, safe week. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Y'all have a good week.
Rotary. That spells Rotary. Very good.
Thank you, Charlie.
Have a good afternoon.
Good, Charles.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
See you, Randy.